Ghibli has a strange habit. When a character feels ashamed, the feeling rarely stays inside them. It changes their shape. Sophie wakes up old. Porco looks into a mirror and sees a pig. Kiki reaches the sky and finds nothing there. Anna imagines everyone else standing inside a circle, then places herself beyond its edge. And Shizuku hands the first story she's ever written to another person, and waits as though he is deciding more than whether it's good. Different films, different directors, different kinds of pain. The same terrifying thought. What if the problem is not what I do? What if the problem's me? Psychologists often draw a useful distinction between guilt and shame. Guilt says, I did something bad. Shame says, I am bad. Guilt can leave a little distance between the person and the action. Something can be repaired, apologized for, attempted again. Shame collapses that distance. The failed action becomes a failed self. The unfinished work becomes proof of an unfinished person. Needing help becomes evidence that you are a burden. Being rejected once becomes an explanation for why anyone would reject you. This is a lens, not a diagnosis, and Ghibli is not one mind. Miyazaki, Takahata, Yoshifumi Kondo, and Hiramosa Yonebayashi are making very different films. But across those films, shame keeps developing the same dramatic grammar. It becomes physical. It becomes spatial. It tells people to shrink, hide, leave the room, close the business, abandon the house, cover the face, or disappear before anybody else can ask them to go. And that's where Ghibli's answer becomes more interesting than a story about self-confidence. These films rarely heal shame by giving someone a speech about how wonderful they are. They change the person looking at them. Guilt has an object. Shame has a mirror. Even when nobody is in the room, shame imagines a face looking back. That face may belong to a parent, a classmate, a stranger, a whole city, or a version of yourself who seems to know what you should have become by now. Ghibli makes that imagined gaze visible. Shizuku sees herself in the pages. Sophie sees herself in an old body. Porco sees himself in an animal face. Kiki sees herself in an empty space where flight used to be. I don't think any of those films can be reduced to shame. Their curses also carry age, gender, labor, war, grief, maturation, and desire. But shame gives those meanings a common motion. The self begins to move away from the world. A person stops asking, what happened? And starts asking, what kind of person would this happen to? That is why shame does not always sound like hatred. Sometimes it sounds responsible. I should not bother anyone. I should handle this alone. I should make myself smaller. I should leave before my need becomes expensive. Disappearance begins to feel like consideration. Shame is not cured by removing every witness. It changes when the witness changes. Mr. Nishi sees rough work and does not mock the person who made it. Osono sees Kiki sick, grounded, and unable to earn, then keeps the room warm. Ursula sees creative silence and recognizes a rhythm instead of a fraud. Marnie sees Anna's anger and hears the abandonment beneath it. Toshio sees an adult Teiko whose life does not match the family script and treats that difference as possibility. A good witness is not someone who says nothing is wrong. Mr. Nishi tells the truth. Ursula does not promise that inspiration will obey a schedule. Marnie cannot undo the years she lost. The good witness does something more basic. They refuse to turn the problem into the whole person. They make unfinishedness survivable. Shame says, become acceptable, then return. Ghibli reverses the order. Return unfinished. Let the relationship hold while the work is rough. The magic is quiet. The history is painful. The face is still cursed. Then change becomes possible without becoming the price of admission. Shame tries to end the future tense. Ordinary care restores it. It's difficult to believe you should disappear with the same certainty while somebody hands you breakfast and expects you tomorrow. Across these films, shame performs the same cruel edit. It takes something that happened and turns it into what someone is. A rough story becomes a fraudulent dreamer. A quiet gift becomes a useless witch. A hungry child becomes a burden. A living body becomes a badly performed princess. A foster payment becomes an unlovable daughter. A survivor becomes a pig. Belonging is not only a feeling inside a person. It is something people and institutions either make possible or withhold. But where Ghibli does imagine repair, it almost always begins relationally. Somebody reads the pages. Somebody makes a meal. Somebody offers a room. Somebody listens to the story beneath the anger. Somebody keeps a place in the garden. The opposite of shame is not pride. Pride can become another performance, another demand to be invulnerable, another way of proving you no longer need anyone. The opposite of shame is belonging that survives imperfection. Not being told you are secretly flawless. Learning that flaw, need, uncertainty, and unfinishedness do not automatically end the relationship. Sophie wakes up old. Porco sees a pig in the mirror. Kiki cannot reach the sky. Anna stands outside the circle. Shizuku cries over a first draft. None of them begins by knowing how to feel worthy. That's not what saves them. The manuscript is held before it becomes good. Kiki is given a room before flight has proved her worth. Anna is called back before she understands the whole past. Porco may be waited for before he believes he deserves a future. The order is the point. Shame says, become acceptable, then come home. Ghibli says, come home unfinished. Let someone see the part of you that is mistaken pain for identity. Let the work be early. Let the gift go quiet. Let the face remain uncertain. Let need enter the room without becoming a trial. You do not become worthy and then return. You return, and worth becomes thinkable again.